You probably feel like your life is a series of events that just happened to you. Some days are good, some are bad, and your job is to react as best you can. But what if that's not the whole story? What if the world isn't happening to you, but actually happening from you? Stick around, because we're about to explore the one key to transforming your world that's been hiding in plain sight. Do you ever feel like you're just strapped into the passenger seat of your own life? You're watching your circumstances fly by, but you have no real control over the destination. One minute, the road is clear and the sun is shining. The next, you're in a downpour, dealing with detours and roadblocks you never expected. A sudden job loss, an unexpected breakup, a surprise bill, these things seem to come out of nowhere, leaving you feeling powerless and at the mercy of the world. This is how most of us are taught to live. We learn to react, to brace for impact, and to navigate a world we see as separate from ourselves. We set goals and then struggle against so-called outside forces to achieve them. We operate under the belief that our happiness depends on getting the world out there to line up with our desires. So, we try to control circumstances and influence people, all while believing that the cause of our experience is external. Living this way creates a kind of constant low-grade anxiety. When you believe your peace and prosperity depend on external conditions, you're always vulnerable. You're a victim of the stock market, your boss's mood, or even the weather. You're always reacting, hoping for the best but fearing the worst, because the power to create your reality feels like it's somewhere out of reach. But what if that core belief is the very thing holding you in place? Let's explore a radical idea. What if the complete opposite is true? What if you aren't the passenger but the driver? Or even more, the architect of the entire landscape you're driving through? This is a core teaching in many of the world's most profound philosophical traditions. The 20th century writer and philosopher Neville Goddard put it very directly when he taught that a person's own consciousness is the one and only reality, and the cause of everything that happens in their life. The idea isn't that the physical world is an illusion, but that the world you experience is a perfect mirror of your inner state. According to this philosophy, your consciousness is the creative power that shapes the events, people, and circumstances of your life. Think about that for a second. It means that nothing is truly external. Nothing happens to you. It all happens from you. Every person you meet, every opportunity that comes your way, every challenge you face, it's all an externalization, a projection of what's active inside your own consciousness. The world stops being this solid, fixed thing you have to fight against and becomes a fluid, malleable expression of your own mind. This idea flips everything on its head. It shifts you from a state of victimhood to one of ultimate responsibility and empowerment. If your consciousness is the cause, then to change your reality, you don't struggle with the outside world. You turn within, you change the cause. This is the key. You don't need to ask for permission or wait for the world to give you a break. You hold the power, and you always have. So, how is it possible that our inner state could shape the world we perceive around us? Let's use a couple of powerful analogies to make this idea clearer. First, imagine your consciousness is like a projector. The film running through it is made up of your beliefs, assumptions, and dominant feelings. The world you see, the people, events, and conditions, is simply the screen where this film is projected. If a scary movie is playing, you don't run up to the screen to fight the monster. That would be pointless. You know that to change the movie, you have to change the film in the projector. In the same way, if you're experiencing a reality of lack, conflict, or loneliness, trying to change those external things is like fighting with the screen. The real work is to change the film of your consciousness. What are the beliefs you hold as true? Do you secretly assume that life is a struggle, that you're not worthy, or that success is for other people? Those assumptions are the film, and your reality has to project them. The second analogy is a mirror. When you look in a mirror, you see a reflection. If you see a frown, you don't try to force the reflection to smile. You know the only way to change the reflection is to smile yourself. The reflection then has no choice but to smile back. Your reality is a perfect mirror of your inner state. It doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you are. It reflects back your dominant state of consciousness. If you are embodying a feeling of anxiety, the world will reflect situations that seem to justify that anxiety. If you embody a feeling of abundance, the world will rearrange to bring you more things to be grateful for. The mirror can only reflect what's in front of it. This is why the feeling is the secret. Changing your feeling state is like changing your own expression to change the reflection in the mirror. This idea that consciousness is the primary cause isn't just a philosophical concept. It finds interesting philosophical parallels in questions being asked at the frontiers of science. Let's start with quantum physics. You've probably heard of the observer effect, which is the scientifically established fact that the act of measuring a quantum system changes it. This is often misinterpreted in pop culture to mean that a conscious mind creates reality just by looking at it. The scientific reality is more nuanced. The observer is typically a measuring device, and it's the interaction of measurement that alters the quantum state. Still, this principle led thinkers to ask profound questions. The legendary physicist John Archibald Wheeler proposed a speculative idea he called the participatory anthropic principle. He suggested that the universe might be brought into being by the very observers within it. This remains a highly controversial and philosophical idea in physics, not a proven fact, but it points to a universe where consciousness could be seen as a participatory force. In neuroscience, there's what's known as the hard problem of consciousness. Why do physical processes in the brain create a subjective first-person experience? Some theories are challenging the idea that consciousness is just a byproduct of the brain. For instance, Integrated Information Theory, or IIT, proposes that consciousness is a fundamental property of any system with a certain kind of complex, interconnected structure. While still a highly debated hypothesis, IIT frames consciousness not as a passive observer, but as something tied to cause-effect power within a system. We can also see how our inner world shapes our perception of reality. Recent randomized controlled trials have shown that dedicated mindfulness practice can causally induce altered states of consciousness, or ASCs. These states can include powerful experiences like unity, where the boundary between self and environment seems to dissolve, or feelings of bliss and profound insight. Studies show a clear link. The more a person engages in formal meditation, the more likely they are to have these experiences that fundamentally change their perception of the world. You're not changing objective reality with your mind, but you are changing the only reality you can ever truly know, the world of your own experience. So how do you go from being a passenger to a conscious creator? The key, according to this philosophy, is to deliberately choose your inner state, no matter what the world outside is reflecting back to you. The most powerful technique for this is what Neville Goddard called living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And this isn't just wishful thinking or faking it till you make it. It's about emotional embodiment. You have to ask yourself, what would it feel like if my desire were already a reality? Would you feel relief, joy, security? Your work is to generate that feeling within yourself now, without needing any external proof. You can do this by closing your eyes and imagining a short scene that implies your desire is already fulfilled. Don't visualize how you got it. Visualize a moment after it happened. Maybe you're having a conversation with a friend and telling them your great news. Feel how real that scene is. Hear their congratulations. Feel the joy and relief wash over you. Stay in that feeling until it becomes your natural mood. This practice is the same as changing the film in the projector or changing your expression in the mirror. You're creating a new inner state, a new cause, As you persist in assuming this feeling, you're changing your state of consciousness. And because your state of consciousness is the only cause, the mirror of your external world must eventually reflect this change. Circumstances will shift, people will act differently, and opportunities will appear to align your external reality with your new inner state. It has no other choice. For most of your life, you may have believed you were at the mercy of an external world. But the truth may be far more powerful. You aren't the passenger, you are the creative power. Your state of consciousness is the cause of your experience. The world is your mirror, faithfully showing you who you are being. Here's the challenge. Stop trying to change the world outside. Instead, turn inward. Decide what you want to experience, and then cultivate the feeling of that experience within yourself. Live from that new state. This is your power. This is the key. Don't just take my word for it. Try it out. Pick a desire, and for the next 30 days, spend a few minutes each night feeling what it would be like to have it. Then watch as your world begins to respond. If this message resonated with you, subscribe for more content on mastering your reality, and let me know in the comments, what reality will you start creating today?